Hey guys, what's up? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another figure review where today we're taking a look at this Amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Spider-Man figure. So my main collection is Marvel Legends, and I rarely ever stray from Hasbro's line if I'm wanting to pick up a Marvel character, because I'm really happy with the price point and standard of those figures. And over the years I have came across Amazing Yamaguchi figures, but I've just never really wanted to pay the price point to pick them up. Normally Amazing Yamaguchi figures sell for around £90 upwards, and I've seen this Spidey many a times, and I'll be honest, when I first saw him, I didn't even really like the look of him, just the design of him didn't really gel with me. And the other problem with Amazing Yamaguchi figures is there are loads of fakes. I mean, there's probably twice the amount of fakes out there than legit versions, to the point that if I do see an Amazing Yamaguchi figure on eBay, I just assume it's fake. And that's what happened a couple weeks ago when I saw both Spidey and Deadpool up for auction and it had no bids. I'd just been paid and I thought I'd keep my eye on it and see what happens, and it got to the final day and there was still no bids on the listing. I thought I would just shove £20 on it. Best case scenario, I win both the figures for £20. The fakes normally sell for £20 each, so I thought two fakes for the 20 isn't a bad deal, and at least I can make a video on them. So I ended up winning, and to be honest, I was like, I kind of went back on my thoughts. I was like, I don't really want two fake figures in the collection. Nonetheless, I'll get them, I'll make a video. So I started looking up on YouTube how to tell the difference between the real Revoltech and the fake Revoltech figures. And then the figures arrived, and I still can't believe it. These two figures are 100% legit. I feel like I've actually won the lottery. Like, I'm still super buzzing. Both the Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man and Deadpool figure for £23. I cannot believe it. I've been playing with these figures all week and I finally want to make a video on the channel on them. So we're going to take a closer look at Spidey first, and then next week we can look at Deadpool. Before we jump into the video, guys, let me know down in the comment section below what Amazing Yamaguchi figure I should keep my eye out for next. While you're down there, if you could do me a massive favour, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And let's not wait any longer. Let's take a closer look at Spidey. And so here is our Amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Spider-Man as he arrived from eBay, and I do believe he's came with all of his accessories. If I go through the video and you notice any's missing, let me know down in the comment section below. But yeah, as far as I know, he's came with everything. So we'll first of all take a look at what he comes with. He comes with this magnetic stand, so you can stick that to your fridge, and yeah, it's kind of just like your basic flight stands where you put that around his body, and they seem pretty stiff. Looks pretty good to me. We also get this other stand here, which I've been having a lot of fun with. I do have a lot of the basic flight stands with this idea, and it means when I come to editing the flight stand out, I always need to try and edit these bits of the sides out. However, I do really like this one and how it slots into the back. You don't need to worry about the sides going around his body, and it works really well. All the joints in this are still pretty stiff. I wish it was a wee bit longer, but yeah, it does the trick. It's a really good stand, and I'm really glad to have it included with this Spidey. We then get 3 webs, and I absolutely love the webs. They are fantastic. We get this one with a wee loop, and it kind of sticks in the hand here, so it goes off to the side. Really nice. I really like the design here. I do need to make my own custom webs. That is going to be a mission for me very soon. I'm going to look to pick up some bendy wire and yeah, make something very similar to this, hopefully. This is a straight one. I really like this one. It's long, goes out to the side once again. Just really like this design. And then we get a shorter one, and this is really cool as well. I do really like this. And that brings us on to the hands. These slot in really nicely to the hands. Oh, and of course the hands I want to show off are on the body, so we'll take a closer look at that in a second after we take a look at all the different hands. So we get these kind of wall crawling ones here, which are really nice. We get 2 fisted ones and then 2 sort of grabby ones. Yeah, you could put the webs through there. You can see there's a fair amount of space there, and you get 1 for each hand. I do really like the sculpted detail there and the paint work. really bringing the lines out. Looks really nice. Same one here. Then we get the fisted hands, and you can port the webs in these ones. So if I get the long one, you can see it just goes in here. And I have been playing around with this figure over the last week. I've had no problems with anything so far. It looks really good, as you can see. And I have used these in some photos. I'll leave the link to my Instagram in the description below, so feel free to check that out. So yeah, 2 of these hands. Then I love these wall crawling hands. These are the best wall crawling hands I've ever seen. I just love the way the fingers look. It sits so nicely on the ground as well when you get it in his arm and everything. It's great. I do love these ones. Get one for each hand again. And then we get the web slinging hands that are on the figure. So we might as well just take a closer look at the figure. So let's start with this head sculpt, and I do really like this head sculpt. I definitely prefer a lot of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man head sculpts, and we will take a closer look at a few other Spideys in a comparison later on. Of course, we can change out all the eyes, and that's something I've totally skipped over. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, really nice head sculpt. I do like the shape of it. If we go round here, we can see there's actually a couple of parts, and I think that's just to help cover up the joints. I'm going to take the head sculpt off and show what this is about. But yeah, we get this long neck that moves around. This is all articulated, and then we get the head sculpt. And yeah, it's a good head sculpt. This whole figure looks very unique, and I think the head sculpt definitely plays a part in that. And then, well, let's show what I was talking about. You can just lift the head off like so, really easily done. You can actually just take all the joints off this guy pretty easily just with the type of joint. So all this sort of joint all over the place. And yeah, here's the bit that comes off. And that just covers, I guess, the articulation a bit more. And we can see in here are the back of the eyes, so they just pour in, and I'm not going to do this on video. It is a bit fiddly, especially when I'm trying to get it on camera, but you can use this wee tool to get in there, pop them out, and then we get 2, 4, 6, 8 eyes all together. We get these 6 alternate eyes, and we can just put them in and out as we please. So at the moment, I've got my favourite eyes in the head sculpt, and I'm going to keep the figure like this for the time being. I have messed around taking them out, and it isn't too hard. I did say it's fiddly, and it is a wee bit, but it's not too much of a big deal. I just don't want to risk anything getting lost while I'm filming this video, but that's how you do it. You can put this back over, so you've got it lined up, and then back onto the neck, like so, and yeah, it looks absolutely flawless now. That is something that is a bit of a downfall with the figure, because all the joints can be removed. You can just pull this arm out. It sometimes loosens off a bit, and I did have to go over both Spider-Man and Deadpool and just push those joints back in, because posing them around, yeah, they just kind of, they don't loosen off. I don't know the right word. They just kind of keep pulling out if you're getting them into certain poses, but it's not been too big a deal. It's just something worth mentioning. So the chest area looks really nice. I love this chest logo. I think it looks great. And there's really nice sculpted webbing all over this, and it's got a really nice black paint through it where, you know, the webbing's really clear. It's not like the Marvel Legends where they've just sculpted it and they've left it unpainted. It looks really nice. And yeah, I do like the chest, and we get this bit here which moves around pretty freely, the lower ab area, and then also the same with this piece. You can't really, yeah, you can see me moving it around a wee bit. I don't get why this bit's so loose. I don't know if it's came loose or if it's always been like that, but I don't get the difference between it being loose and if it was just stuck down. The arms, I really like the blue they've used. That shiny metallic blue all over this figure, I think, looks fantastic. We then get a blue joint in the arms, which makes sense. I'm glad they've done that, and of course they'd have to because the joints are so visible on this piece. And yeah, here's the web swinging hands. So let's pour that web in and finally show that off. Let's see. I actually do really like how you can't necessarily immediately see the hole. Maybe you can, I don't know, maybe it's just my eyes, but it is pretty well hidden, and then you can just slot this in, and it makes a really nice web effect. There we go, like that. That looks so good, and it's so much better than any of the web accessories that Marvel Legends has given us. I mean, I think that's a conversation for another video, but I really dislike all the Spider-Man web effects that Hasbro give us, and especially when you see the quality of these. And of course, this is a lot more expensive than a Marvel Legends, but something like the web accessories shouldn't be a big deal, especially when it comes to the price point. I don't know, as I said, it's a conversation for another video. Really like the arms, the chest. This bit is a bit weird to me, but you know, the whole figure, as I've said, is a really unique look to it, so it is just playing into that. Then we get the legs, which are just crazy articulated, and I'm going to go over that later in the video. The feet look really small, and I did worry about standing this figure. However, I've not actually had any problems getting him to stand. I'm probably not going to be able to just do it off the bat here now that I've moved him around a bit, but yeah, for the most part, I've managed to get him standing absolutely fine, even though his feet do look really small in my opinion. You do get the articulated toes. Yeah, the legs look a bit clunky and everything, but that's the design. And at first, really wasn't a fan of the look, but yeah, I've definitely came around to it. Before we compare this guy to some other Spideys, I just quickly wanted to show off the back logo because I totally forgot about the back of the figure. And yeah, I think this looks really, it's not my favourite back logo for sure. I'm not a massive fan of how that looks. It's just a big circle with some splodges at the side, but it's not terrible. And here is our Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man next to the Marvel Legends retro carded Spidey. And at first I hated the look of this Spider-Man. That's why I've never really been interested in that figure before. However, after playing around with him over the last week, I absolutely love this figure now. Most of all because of the posability over the look, but I have grown fond of the look a lot. And if I was to choose between these two figures, if I'm going look-wise, then I'm 100% going for this Marvel Legends Spider-Man. If I'm going posability, I'm probably still going to go for this Marvel Legends Spider-Man. This new articulated body is fantastic, and you can get this Spider-Man into nearly every Spidey pose you're going to want. And yeah, you can get this Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man into unreal, incredible poses. Trust me, I've been doing it over the last week. However, with just the added look to this figure here, it's going to have to be the Marvel Legends Spidey, which is surprising considering this Amazing Yamaguchi is around £60 to £100 buying him retail new. And this Marvel Legends Spidey, when he retailed, was around the £22 price mark. And of course, the aftermarket has really went for this figure. I mean, you're going to be spending about £80 upwards, and maybe that is an accurate reflection when you look at these two side by side. The posability, the look of the Spider-Man, maybe it is reflected in those aftermarket prices. And here is our Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man figure next to the Sinister Six Toy Biz Spider-Man. And the reason I've compared these two guys together is because I think this figure here looks really unique, really stylized, the same way that I think Toy Biz Spider-Man figures are really unique and stylized. And yeah, it's partly because it's a product of its time, but I think it stands the test of time. And I'm not going to try and pick a Spider-Man between these two. I love them both. I think they both look great. Both have great posability, and that's why I just wanted to show them off next to one another. And here is our Amazing Yamaguchi Spidey next to the Marvel Select Amazing Spider-Man figure. And when I've been collecting Marvel figures for the last few years, I've always stuck with either Marvel Legends or Marvel Select. And I will say I've had way more fun with this Amazing Yamaguchi than I've ever had with a Marvel Select Spider-Man. Marvel Select absolutely nailed the look of their Spider-Man figures. However, they're not the best to pose around, and this figure here is way more fun. However, once again, I do think this Spidey just looks better. And for a Spidey villain comparison, here is Spider-Man next to the Marvel Legends Venom. I think these guys do look really good next to one another. We can see the Amazing Yamaguchi fits in really well with the Marvel Legends series. Not so much the Marvel Select, but I do really like the difference between these two size-wise. So I'm going to try and run over all the articulation on this figure, and even when I'm going over articulation on Marvel Legends, I forget something. So going over the articulation on this guy, I feel like I'm bound to forget a piece. But let's give it a shot. We can get the head moving right off the peg. Good start. We can get the head moving. I'm going to go about that far before it comes off the peg again, which is great. That is a really far up, and we can get the moving about that far down. However, bear in mind we can move the neck as well. You can get the head moving left and right. As I just mentioned, you can get the neck moving a wee bit left and right, but you can move it up and down, which comes in handy a lot. The arms have a great range of movement with this double joint here, so we can get it about that far up, really far in at the body. It is going to move up and down due to that double joint. We then get one of these single Revoltech joints here at the elbow. We can move the wrist up and down, and you can rotate that round as well. Same articulation in this arm. We do get a sort of ab crunch that moves around a lot. Once again, comes in handy so much when you're getting him into poses, and you can hear that click there, which is what you want if you're trying to check for a legit or a fake. As I mentioned, it kind of rotates round here, and you can also rotate the chest left and right. There's not much down here, but then you can get the legs kicking about that far out. We'll go about that far in, kick it really far forward, really far back the way. He's got this thigh cut sort of joint here. He's got this Revoltech joint at the knee, and yeah, I've still not completely sussed out the knee joints. It is kind of hard to maneuver around when I'm trying to get him to stand up straight and make it look flush. Yeah, it will take me some getting used to. Another thing I want to point out, if you're trying to find out the difference between the legit and the fake, I seem to have discovered the legit has like a sort of cross on the joints that you can sort of see there. Hopefully you can see that. The fakes apparently do not have that, so yeah, keep an eye out for that. Move the boot around at the calf area, get the feet backwards and forwards. There is a bit of pivot there, and you do get toe articulation. And there we have it for this Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man figure, and I've probably said those words so many times during this video, but here he is, and I have to say this is probably the most fun I've ever had with a figure. It's absolutely fantastic. The posability is through the roof. The sculpt, yeah, I mean, it looks odd. It takes a bit of getting used to, especially when you've only really ever collected Marvel Legends and Marvel Select. This guy looks far out, and the closest comparison I can make is to an older Toy Biz figure. He is very unique, and I had a problem with that for a while. I definitely thought he looked too strange for me to like. However, my thoughts on that have changed, and as I said, this guy is a lot of fun, and I'm so glad to have him in the collection. Let me know what you guys think of this figure down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, guys, if you could do me a massive favour, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to leave the link to my Instagram, where I've already taken a lot of pictures of this figure, and hopefully I'll have them up there soon, so feel free to check that out. And feel free to hop on over to the channel page as well, because there are plenty of other Spider-Man videos up on there, and it would mean a lot to me if you check them out. It means a lot to me that you've watched this video, so thank you so much, and as always, I'll catch yous on the flip-flop later. Cheers.